Welcome to another episode of the CarryTrainer Higher Line podcast.
Hey CarryTrainer fans, what you're about to see is a special presentation from Paul Sharp during a dinner at last week's S12 Premier Training Event. Check it out.
Did you guys have fun today? Who thought when I said we were going to shoot 600 rounds-ish, did you not believe it? How's your hands feel? Are they sore? No? Good. Mine are. From holding my fist clenched. I'm okay right now. Thank you. Churros? Churros. We're gonna hear from my buddy Paul Sharp this evening. Paul is actually, believe it or not, is 103 years old. No, for real, look how good he looks. Look how good he looks. Paul used to be a power lifter, and I'll tell a little bit of the story. Besides all your SWAT cop and jiu-jitsu, and one thing that makes him and his buddies cool, so you guys ever see these videos on the internet where like dudes are doing like crazy like kung fu, like karate stuff, and the guys that they're training with like just fall on the ground without fighting? Him and his buddies, the Shivworks guys, said, hey, this is all BS, which most of it is, and they pressure tested it. It's kind of like one of the terms that their group coined, was let's test it and see if it works, if it holds up under the crucible of an actual adversary. And that's kind of their thing. Most folks won't go hang out in their gyms or with their groups of guys. Now it's almost his turn, he's on the phone. Because they'll win. Because they test the stuff over and over, and when it works, okay, we'll stick with it. And when it doesn't work, they pitch it and go on to the next thing. So you refine and you find out the stuff maybe you think is badass isn't. Are you almost done?
I'm almost done.
Oh, okay.
Hey guys, say hi.
I'll take, give me, hi!
Thank you.
Puts 2,000 on the Mets. I'm talking to his bookie. Cubs, foosball team. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make, with their bodies, with their time, they've taken huge amounts of damage to test this stuff all over the country. Craig Douglas, his good buddy, does this stuff for teams across the country. You just got back from Canada, right? Teaching up there. This is the highest level intelligence on these matters. So I told him, let's talk a little bit about longevity and how we take care of this body of ours. Come on up, brother. Thank you. I'm glad you're here. Appreciate it. You have 75 seconds.
75 seconds.
Take your time.
All right, so real quick, so Mickey was kind enough to introduce me to you guys, and we were going to talk about longevity, but we also talked about mindset, right? So is it cool to go there?
Yeah, I think they kind of coincide, right?
It does. All right, so real quick, so when we talk about mindset, there's a lot of different ways to define it, a lot of different ways to talk about it, right? So if I were to ask you to give me a one-word definition, now think, you were trying to explain mindset to somebody who doesn't do what we do. In one word, how would you say or explain mindset? What does mindset mean to you? So I'm going to give you a little bit to think about it, right? I want you to think about it for a couple seconds, and then I want a couple of you guys to just give me some answers. All right? So, yes, sir. Attitude. Okay. What's conviction? Conviction? What is it? Focus. Anything else? One word. Yes, sir. What if you say I'm fast enough? It's like one word. It all jumbles together.
Predetermined responses.
Yes, sir. Will. Anything else? Yes, sir. Purpose. Anything else? Persistence. Yeah, that's a good one. Results. All right. One of my favorite words for mindset is resiliency. So, I'm more resilient in my environment, We're resilient, and by environment, I mean internal and external. All right, because we fight a lot of battles. It's not always the ones that can be seen. All right, we're gonna get into all that. We're not gonna go too deep because I'm not touchy-feely. But I did make notes, you know, so I did, because I know Mickey's like, keep it short and sweet. All right, so Mickey wanted me to tell you guys one story as we go into this stuff, and then we're going to talk about suspending some beliefs. I did a class in 2001 with Paul Howe. Anybody know who Paul Howe is? So they discussed earlier, the day guys discussed Black Hawk Down. Joel was talking about Black Hawk Down. Paul Howe was one of the team leaders on the Black Hawk Down incident. He's an awesome dude. He was my first introduction to hostage rescue when I was just a brand new SWAT guy, still on probation as a SWAT officer. And Paul Howe brought us out there. We did a class. I was appointed as a team leader by him for the duration of the course. The last day of the course, we had an exercise, started at 4 in the morning. You had to run a certain distance in all your gear. We followed him through this maze of is an old industrial park. We get to a location. He says that guy there is a firefighter who is responding. It's an active shooter situation. There's a team inside chasing the shooter. Your job is to get the firefighter and bring him to safety. I'll tell you where safety is. Go get him. I'm like, okay. So we go get him. We're carrying this guy. We get about 20 yards into it. Now remember, Paul has told us there's 4 guys carrying. It's 5-man elements. I'm a team leader. I'm not allowed to do anything hands-on. I'm just to organize and orchestrate. And there's 4 guys holding their sectors. 2 guys holding sectors. I'm holding the sector, kinda. And then there's 2 guys carrying this down male who is an actual person, but he's a normal-sized guy. Nothing extraordinary. And you have the element of the unknown, which was not going to tell you how far you have to carry this guy, but you got to carry him, and you can't get shot by role players that are out here. But I'm not going to tell you where they're at either or how many. So it was fun, you know, it was challenging. We're going through this thing. About 20 yards into it, one of my guys says, "I can't do this." Puts the dude down, drops it, and I go, "What are you talking about, man?" He goes, "I can't do this. I'm tired." I'm like, okay, like, what do you mean? Like, just pick him up, man. I can't, I'm tired. I go, okay, I'm gonna switch you out. I need you to hold the left side. Take the left guy, pull him back, you're gonna carry. He looks at me and starts taking his gear off and says, "I'm tired, I'm out." And Paul looks at me, and of course, you know, being who he is, he's just like, "Suck it up, buttercup, figure it out." And I'm like, I want to punch the dude, you know? And I go, I mean, it's 4 in the morning, I'm tired too, you know? We had done exercises with Paul until midnight, you know? And then he got us back out there at 4, so meant we had 2 hours sleep time, and then we were back on the field training with this maniac, and maniac in the best way. And he says, "No, man, I'm done." And I look at him, I go, "Say that again, man." And he goes, "I'm done." Just like that. And walks over to the side and sits down. And I look at Paul, and Paul's like, "Figure it out, team leader." And so I go, "Okay, fine, dude. Everybody hold what you got." I grab the dude, rescue carry, go to stand up, and Paul says, "Team leader, you can't put hands on anybody. Your job is to orchestrate. So figure it out." So we had to figure it out. My point of that story is, this dude decided at that point to let us all down and to pull the plug. And this is in training. Like, this isn't even a real thing. But Paul Howe looks at him and says, "You should find something else to do. You should never carry a gun again or put yourself in a position where you're going in harm's way for anybody, including yourself." And that was the end of it. 2 years later, this dude's sitting on the board of the Illinois Tactical Officers Association, making decisions for how SWAT is and how training is done. So my point with all that was that sometimes people in that position, as Mickey and I were discussing, they don't understand mindset. They don't understand how to suck it up and drive on. All right? So I wanted to get your guys' one-word definition of that, because it's important. Because sometimes you gotta have that mantra, that one word that you just repeat to yourself as you drive on. I am more resilient than these circumstances. I'm more adaptive than these circumstances. I can force myself to drive on. Does that make sense? All right, so we'll dive a little deeper. There's a thing called, it's pretty cool, all right? And here's my belief on mindset. I believe that you absolutely can train it. And here's why I think that. Because if you're sitting here today, that means your ancestors shoved pointy sticks into big hairy beasts. And they passed that DNA down to you. And that's why you're sitting here. If that didn't happen, you wouldn't be alive because they would have been eaten. That makes sense? All right? So you have a heritage, you have a legacy to carry on, which is that mindset. That DNA is sitting in you, man. Don't let it go to waste. All right? So that's why I say it's in us. We have to cultivate it. And I've had this discussion. Z and Chuck and I were walking over here to my friend Adam Singer, who's coach of Forrest Griffin and Brian Bowles and all those guys. He sends me questions all the time. Like tonight, is the Kimura grip a fundamental of jiu-jitsu or just a submission? And I know where he's going because he's literally a Mensa member. So I know as soon as I answer him, I'm going to be involved in a discussion for like 3 hours. But one of the things that he has asked me before is, do you think heart can be taught or are we born with it? Because as a coach, we have to build heart in our fighters. I need a dude that's going to get punched in the face and say, no problem. This is what I'm here for, right? And how do I develop that in my fighters or in people that I train? And so I've come to this thought that, again, it's been passed down to you. If you're living right now on this planet, somebody in your past survived some horrendous circumstances so that you could be sitting here. Act like it. Make sense? So, there's the cool thing called, now tying this all in to the evolutionary process, right? There's a cool thing called central governor theory. All right? Central governor. How many know what a governor is? What's a governor? Yes, sir. Right. Yeah, so those trucks that you can't get around, and they have a sign on the back that says this truck only goes 65 miles per hour, right? They have a governor. Scientists believe that the human machine has a central governor somewhere in the brain that says, hey, chill, bro. Don't push yourself. Because it's an artifact of evolutionary times, right? That at some point, if I were to say, go into the gym today and do squats to the point of exhaustion, like I'm just gonna do squats till I can't walk. My brain says, hey dude, we have predators. If you do that, there's nothing in the tank. And so if there's nothing in the tank, we might get killed. We might become prey. And so there's a lot of theory out there. There's several noted authors that have talked about this, and there's actually, you guys familiar with Outward Bound, the organization? There's actually, that was kind of the premise of that whole organization, was to teach people you can dig deeper than you think you can. All right? And so the central governor theory is just that. It's a voice in your brain that is telling you to knock it off. And in doing studies on this, Ross Edgley has participated in numerous studies where they took biopsies of the muscle, and he self-reported, I'm at my threshold. And they took biopsies and they go, actually you're not. And he goes, no, lactic acid, I'm a scientist. I study this, I know. Lactic acid is overcoming me. I'm done. And they're like, nope. Blood work shows, nope. Blood work says you got a lot more in it. Make sense? You see where this is going? All right. Now, World War II, there's a guy who, by all intents, there's a surgeon here, right? We have a doctor? Yeah, right. How unethical would it be if you were to do surgery on me and the nurse were to say, listen, we don't have morphine, but we got some saline, we're going to tell them it's morphine. Would that be cool or not? Not too cool. What do you think would happen? I wouldn't like it. Right. Yeah. World War II, Henry Beecher is the military, an army surgeon, out of morphine. Nurse says, hey, we got saline, and they won't know the difference. You guys know where this is going, right? Placebo effect. They performed surgery on multiple soldiers. He actually began the study on placebo effect as a result of this stuff, and was labeled by a lot of people as unethical. When in fact he was trying to say, listen, desperate measures, we didn't have a choice. But from that, we discovered that the human body, the human machine, is way more resilient. Not because the body is tough, but because the mind decided that I'm gonna believe that I'm all right. So go ahead and operate away. Now I'm not saying you should go to the dentist tomorrow and go, hey, that root canal, let's just rock that shit. Let's just do it, right? No, I'm not saying that at all. Don't do that. Modern medicine is a beautiful thing. I'm standing here because of modern medicine. I had an aneurysm November 9th, 2014. My brain blew up. Couldn't see out of the left eye. Couldn't use the right side of my body. I'm here because modern medicine is amazing, right? But here's what I want to get across to you guys. The governor theory is what's holding you back. The same ancestors that handed down to you the ability to fight anything and survive everything are also holding you back a little bit, because that DNA, that programming is in there that says, hey, ease up, dude. Leave a little something in the tank. And what I'm going to tell you is that you need to empty the tank. Like, you need to find ways to empty your tank on a regular basis. And I'm not saying go out today and run 50 miles, because that's kind of dumb, right? Like, there's overreaching, and then there's rhabdo, right? So we don't want to do that. But I want you to think about ways that every day you can reach a little deeper, you could go a little further. We're all here to learn how to do what? Become more competent, more adept, more dangerous. Like, if I'm paying attention to the TCCC stuff, what am I trying to learn how to do? Save my kid. Save my loved ones. Like, who's going to be in the car with me when I get in an accident? Right? Like, I'm not taking this stuff envisioning that I'm going to run into the mall and save strangers. I'm actually thinking I'm saving my family. Like, I pull a pistol out, I'm not thinking I'm saving strangers. I'm thinking I'm defending myself and my loved ones. Like, I'm getting it on her behalf. And so what I'm trying to get across to you guys is what we're doing here, we're doing because we want to be more capable. We want to be more adept. And the way to get there is to go a little further and go a little deeper. Does that make sense? So do it in little ways. Like, it doesn't have to be physical, man. It can be being a better dad, right? It can be digging deeper in relationships. Like, that's where you push yourself. Like, how you do anything is how you do everything, right? I'm not going to embarrass anybody by saying who's been to AA, but that's one of the things that they talk about in those processes. A bunch of drunks. But that's one of the things they talk about in those processes. How you do anything is how you're going to do everything, man. If you don't take this serious, it's not going to work. If you don't do everything correct and 100%, you're not going to do anything 100%. And so when we're out here, who was talking about it today about bringing the pistol out and being serious and getting that second? I think it was you, man. I was talking about, like, when you come out, getting that second sight picture, third sight picture, and don't waste. And Ben was talking about don't waste that trigger press. That's all part of it. Taking that next step. Like, yeah, I'm tired, man. We've been getting up and down. I'm wet. You know, it's getting dark. One more good trigger press. Tell the little bitch in your head, shut up for a minute, and get one more good trigger press. That makes sense? Because here's how I look at it too. Circling back to training fighters and preparing people for the worst day of their life, because that's, as trainers, that's what we do. Like, trainers have success stories, but Don, all your success stories are based on what? Real world. Catastrophe. Worst day of somebody's life. right? Scott, dudes you train, right? They come back to you with a testimonial, and what's it based on? Worst day of their life, right? So that's what we're looking at as trainers. How do I instill in people the ability to get through the worst day of their life? And what you guys are all training for is the worst day of your life. Make sense? So you've got to make those deposits. I look at it as a bank account. Mindset is a bank account. Resilience is a bank account that I make a deposit into every time I'm too tired to do one more rep. Every time I'm too tired to send one more email. Every time I'm too tired to respond to my kids because it's late and I'm tired and I'm busy. If I suck it up in those little things, that's how I'm going to do everything. Make sense? So in that moment, when it's the worst moment of my life, and I've been there, man, I've been in that moment, laying on the ground, I'm like, I'm just going to chill here and go to sleep for a second. Because my brain's shutting off. My right side of my body's not working. I can't see anymore. I'm just going to chill here and go to sleep. I've had that moment and I go, it's funny, right? Because firefighters are here. I'm like, the nurse shook me and said, hey, I'll be right back. And I go, I'm going to go get help. I'll be right back. I'm like, I'm just going to go to sleep. I'll wait for you to come back. And then I thought, I'm not going to get carried in there by firefighters. So I got up and walked in. But that's the thing. In those moments, all those deposits you made that seem meaningless are what's going to make you suck it up and drive home. Because that's the day you cash that account in. Might be the only time you ever cash it in, but it's real damn important in that moment. So I just want to encourage you guys, like when Scott's running us through the PT, yeah, man, I was burning a little bit. My shoulders are not happy. You know, like I didn't want to do another inchworm into a push-up to a squat. I'm like, this is what I make people do in my gym. People don't make me do this. But in that moment, when that central governor theory is going, hey, you should probably save something because we got a long day of instruction and we got to be 100%. We got to give these people 100% of ourselves while instructing, so don't tire yourself. That's when it's time to go, nah, man. This is where I put another deposit in that bank, so when that bad day comes, whether it's a rollover accident or some dude or another person is trying to kill me, I suck it up and do what I gotta do. And I want you guys to do the same. Any thoughts? You guys like, shut up, man. I want to eat that tequila pudding. Thank you guys. I'm honored you asked me to speak to these dudes, and I'm seriously honored that you guys have sit here and listen to me talk. Thank you very much.
That's good stuff, right? That's good stuff. I don't think anybody that ever, here's the common thread. Like my buddy Shane and I keep trying to get together, so Shane and Carly, maybe you tell your guys' story this weekend. They're one of our sponsors. Everybody here, like them, this dude, this dude, this dude, that dude, that dude, that dude. I'm pointing to dudes I know have the story. Every one of them surmounted some obstacle, and it's all the same stuff. Like whether you're a fighter or a business dude or somebody fighting cancer, it's all the same stuff. It's all the same ingredients.
Visit our website, CarryTrainer.com, for information about classes held throughout the U.S., CarryTrainer apparel, and upcoming projects. You can also email us at training@CarryTrainer.com for information about setting up your own private course or speaking engagement. Training@CarryTrainer.com or CarryTrainer.com.